Hey guys, today I'm going to go over every single game that I rolled credits on in 2025. Now, I think there were a few of them that didn't have credits necessarily, but I finished their campaign or I finished the game, not necessarily 100% or like platinums or anything like that. I think there's only actually one game that I did that with this year. And yeah, I set a record for 2025. I used to never finish games when I was a kid, and even, in my 20s and stuff, I didn't finish a lot of games at all. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe five a year. And this year is quite a bit different. I used to do things like I used to go out like 2 to 5 times a week with friends and go party and do all sorts of things. Like even into my early 30s, I did that. And yeah, I have more time now that I don't go out drinking all the time, I think. And I also just I live out in the middle of nowhere now, so I don't really go out and do much besides work. And my hobbies are reading and video games. So if I lived somewhere else and I was like more in a like an urban area, then yeah, I probably would play less because I'd probably be doing other things. But this is my hobby, and this is why there's so many games. I completed 56 games this year. It seems like a lot. However, there are people in some of the groups that I'm in that have done 3 times the amount that I have. So a lot of these are smaller, shorter games. I don't play a lot of long games, but a lot of long games are on my backlog. So this year probably won't be nearly as much. Um, yeah, let's get to it because it's going to be a long video because 56 games, and I'm sure I'll talk a little bit at least about every single one of them. So, first game, I'm going in order of when I completed them. Portal. This was a game that people talked about for a long, long time, and I just had never even played this game. I had played Superliminal and other games that are very similar to this game, but it's just kind of like a perspective type of environmental puzzle where you are like trying to get through these portals, and it's pretty interesting, and I actually really did like it. It's a fairly short game, and I do need to play through the second one. I have not played that one yet, but I did like it quite a bit. Now, I think Superliminal is super underrated, and I would almost probably tie them, honestly. I really liked Superliminal was very similar in a way, but you had to like it was all by your view perspective that you were um, kind of rearranging objects in your environment to get through the puzzles and stuff. And I just thought it was really cool. But I like both of them a lot. The second game, another thing, I started reviewing games for Minimap back in 2024, late 2024. 2025 was the first full year that I've been a reviewer for a site. So a lot of these games, a good amount of these games were codes that I got for review. So I don't review games unless I finish them. So that's another reason why I have so many games. And then there are some that are just kind of random games that I don't think I would have played otherwise, or I didn't know about beforehand. So this is one of those games, Asfalia Fear. This is a point and click adventure game where you're this little kid and it's kind of got some mythological creatures and stuff in your almost like in a dream or kind of like a fantasy world and stuff, and you're trying to get through the puzzles and stuff to get back home. And it's pretty cute. I like it a lot. I thought it was pretty good. However, it is more of a kid friendly type of game. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's like an adult game, but I think it's enjoyable enough, and it is only about 2 hours long. So check it out if you have not, and you're into point and click adventure games. Hotline Miami 2 was number 3. Wrong number. I played through the first Hotline Miami, I want to say in 2024 for Game Club, and it is now one of my favorite games of all time. I just really, really love that game. It is hard, it's bizarre, it's very fast paced, and kind of a, I don't know, extremely violent. But I wanted to play through Hotline Miami 2 because I was craving more. And I don't like it nearly as much as the first Hotline Miami. It is a little bit more difficult and sometimes frustrating. Um, but it is still a really good game. And I highly, highly recommend playing through Hotline Miami, the first one, especially. Number 4 was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I really enjoyed this game, and I'm not even a big Indiana Jones fan. I love Harrison Ford movies. Like Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time. Also, The Empire Strikes Back is one of my favorite movies of all time. Did I say video game? I meant movie, whatever. Yeah, I just love the original Star Wars trilogy, period. But yeah, I never got into Indiana Jones, not because I didn't have any interest in it. I just never really got there. I never really watched the movies. I watched the first movie, but it was a while back ago, and I don't remember too much about it. And I love Uncharted, you know, so you would think that I would watch these. But playing through this game actually made me want to go back and watch the original trilogy of this movie series. And I just Machine Games did a really good job. Troy Baker did a phenomenal job. He sounded just like Harrison Ford for the most part, and I thought it was a really really cool game, and I want more games like this that are kind of linear, a little bit open, but like not to the point of being overwhelming. So I really really highly suggest that game, and I thought they did a good job. Hopefully, we get more from them like that. Number 5 was Minami Lane. I don't know if that's how you say it or not, but this is kind of like a very simple like town builder type of game where you're rearranging these like shops and stuff and on this like just one street. And it's really cute. It's very simple and it's pretty short as well. But I enjoyed it. It's a good cozy game. But it's not very long at all. It's like maybe 2 or 3 hours. So definitely check that one out if you like cozy games. Number 6 was the Stanley Parable. This was my first time playing through this as well. I don't usually play through games over and over again. Sometimes I will, but there is one that I replayed through this year. You'll see that later. But the Stanley Parable, I had heard really good things about, and it was kind of crazy. I did enjoy it. I don't think I maybe enjoyed it as much as other people did, but I really like the narrator. I think he was really hilarious. There were some points where I would um kind of make myself die over and over and over again, and he was like, you know, yelling at me, "No, Stanley, no, Stanley. You know, think about what you're doing." And it's just I don't know. It was fun. Number 7 was Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. This was kind of like a almost like a Zelda style RPG, like you know the old school Zelda, where you're a turnip and you're going around and you're um, killing all these enemies and stuff. And it's very simple too. Actually, it could be hard in some points too because you had like some enemies that were kind of annoying, but I think it was really fun. And there's the second one is Turnip Boy robs a bank is the second one. I have not played through it yet, but it's on my to get to list. Number 8 was Sayonara Wild Hearts. I cannot talk today. Um, this is kind of a like an on rail rhythm based game, and I had heard so many good things about this game for a long time. It has a really good soundtrack. The story's kind of interesting. It's very short as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as some other people did, but I did really enjoy the soundtrack, and I thought it was pretty cool. There's not really too much to it because it is like an on rail game, so it's pretty guided. But yeah, I would suggest checking it out. Number 9 was Rift of the NecroDancer. This was another rhythm based game, kind of more in the style of Guitar Hero in a way. And you've got all these characters. It's actually in uh, the same series technically as Crypt of the NecroDancer. Is it Crypt of the NecroDancer, which was like a Zelda-like game? It and like a Cadence of Hyrule, I think, were all in the um, same universe or whatever, the same characters and stuff. But this is just a Guitar Hero like rhythm-based game, and this is really really cool. I really liked it a lot. The songs are really cool. Instead of having like arrows as keys, like you have different enemies coming down. Like you'll have like skeletons that will like bounce a certain way a certain number of times. So it kind of creates this um, a little bit more difficult of a challenge because you've got like bats that will go a certain way. Like they'll hop across 3 times in the direction they're facing. So you have to hit the key that it's kind of hard to explain, but it is a challenge even on like the normal difficulty. So kind of hard to master, and I think it's a little bit more difficult than um, Guitar Hero would be. But I miss Guitar Hero, so I was definitely excited to play through that. I enjoyed it. Number 10 was Proverbs. This is the first game that I played of these Mosaic series, which took over my Steam recap for the year. Um, they're basically just, it's like a tile based, um, kind of like almost like a Minesweeper type of puzzle, logic puzzle game where you have these like 3 by 3 square spaces, and you'll have, say if you have a 9 in the middle, all of the spaces surrounding that in that 3 by 3 space are going to be positives because there's going to be 9 filled in there. And then if you have a 0 in the middle, then none of those are going to be filled in. So they're going to be filled in as a negative. And then you just keep going and going. Of course, there's going to be like 3s and 7s, and you'll figure it out like how it actually works as you go along. And these actually end up revealing these big mosaic pictures on a wall, and it's really really cool. Proverbs is my favorite of the series. I'm currently working on their Mosaic of the Strange for review. The newest one that just released last month. And yeah, these games go for probably about like 30 hours. It's a lot of time sinking, and it's very just kind of something to play while you're watching podcast or watching anything really. It's really good to do on the side. So I highly highly suggest these games if you're into logic puzzles like that. Number 11 was Mosaic Retrospective, which is just like Proverbs. It's the same series, but this one is kind of a recap of events of 2024. So like as the like mosaics are getting revealed, the pictures are getting revealed. Sometimes for Proverbs, it was like little proverbs from like I want to say like the 1600s, 1500s, or something like that. That would pop up, and it like revealed this larger picture. Mosaic Retrospective would reveal little pictures of like little like highlighting events from 2024. Number 12 was Lonely Mountain Snow Riders. This was the first game that I streamed on Twitch. I started Twitch along with this game, and yeah, I had never streamed a game before, and this was the perfect game for that, I think, because I played all the way through it in one stream. And this is from the same people that did Lonely Mountains Downhill. Yeah, Downhill, which was like a BMX, like kind of like a over the top perspective where you are guiding this character down these slopes and stuff. This one is snowboarding, or not snowboarding, skiing. And it's really, really cool. It's kind of difficult because it is in that like isometric view, top down, and you're trying to guide them. So the controls can be a little hard, especially when you get turned around and going the other direction. Um, and you can die a lot. I died a lot in this game, but it's really cool. There's checkpoints and stuff that you have to like get to by a certain point to get like the new levels unlocked and stuff like that. And I really highly suggest it. They remind me kind of like Downhill Domination, which was a game by Santa Monica. I don't know if they worked on it. I don't know if they were like the full developers of it, but this was before God of War, and it was like a downhill BMX game that I really really loved on PlayStation 2, and I think it's a hidden gem. So there's not really a lot of games like that anymore. So this is the closest we have to that now. Number 13, a game about digging a hole. It is precisely what it says it is. A game about digging a hole. You've got this house that you have bought, and for whatever reason you decide to dig this big hole in the backyard, and you're mining all this ore and stuff, and you're selling the ore off, and you upgrade your equipment by selling the ore, and then you get to the bottom and there's a surprise, and it's kind of odd, but it's only about like 2 hours long, if that. I also stream this on Twitch, and yeah, if you're into those types of games, then definitely check that out. It's not very much either. It's like, I don't know, like under $5. Number 14, The Forgotten City. This was also a game I streamed. I've streamed a lot of games, actually. That was part of another reason why I played through so many games. But this was originally a game that I think was originally a mod for Skyrim, I think. And then they turned it into their own full game. And it's really interesting. It's like all these different types of branching paths. It's got an interesting story, an interesting world where you're kind of in this like time loop, and you're in like this like ancient city, and you're trying to figure out why everybody suddenly just disappeared and died. And you just kind of go through this loop, and you keep finding out like what happened. Very very interesting. Number 15 was Spilled. This is only about a 2 hour game that came out in 2025. It's one of my top 10 games of the year. It's very simple. You're going around in a boat, and you are cleaning up this kind of like these lakes, or these waters, of like oil spills, and there's all this like trash in the water and stuff too. There's animals that you can rescue, and it's a very chill, relaxing game, but it also is just, I think it's a good thing too. The person who developed this is a solo developer, and this was their first game, and they also like donated a portion of every purchase to um, helping dolphins out in the wild, and they also developed this game while living on a boat, which I thought was really really cool. So definitely check that out. It's under $5, I want to say as well, and I really enjoyed it. Number 16 was another game I streamed. Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. I always wanted to play Epic Mickey when it was originally on the Wii, but I never really was a big fan of the Wii in general, so especially like controls and stuff, so I never did get around to it. So when it came out as like a remake, I was interested, and I finally got it for I think Christmas of 2024, and then I decided to stream it. And I love 3D platformers a lot. It's got some like creepiness to it. There's like some animatronics and stuff that are like really weird. I've got my full playthrough, I think, of Spilled and Epic Mickey on here, so you can check those out if you want to. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Number 17. I hope they actually do the sequel at some point, but I don't know if they will. Number 17 was another game I got for review. This was one that I personally requested because I had seen it being presented at one of the showcases, and I thought it looked really cool. I'm a puzzle platformer sicko. I love like Inside and anything that is like Play Dead style type of game. Once Upon a Puppet. This is a game where you play as kind of like almost like a Pinocchio style type puppet, and there's like all these bad things that are like taking over your world. There's a lot of trash that's being thrown into it. It's kind of sometimes it's hard for me to remember like exact events and stuff. I have a full review of it on Minimap because I wrote it. I wrote a review for it there. and I actually really enjoy this. This got really bad reviews for whatever reason. On Open Critic, I want to say it's like at a 60, which is pretty low. But I thought it was fun. I liked it. It's not perfect, but if you like puzzle platformers, I would suggest looking into it. It may still have a demo up too. Number 18, PowerWash Simulator. This is the one game that I replayed through this year. I originally played through PowerWash Simulator in 2023 for the first time, and I played it on Game Pass. And then after I finished it on Game Pass, I really, really liked the game, so I decided I was going to get a physical copy to put on my shelf. And then when I heard that Power Wash Simulator 2 was coming out, I was like, I kind of want to play the DLC, but I didn't play it on PS5, so I was like, okay, let me replay through it. I get all my upgrades and everything, although it didn't actually matter, but I did it anyway. And then play through the DLC for Power Wash Simulator. So that's what I did. I played the DLC. I think there's a few of them I have not played through. I did not play the Back to the Future or the Warhammer one, but I think I pretty much played through everything else. And I really, really enjoy this game a lot. I actually think I might even like it more than 2 still, but yeah, it's just a really chill, relaxing game, and yeah, definitely check it out if you like stuff like that, and it's the perfect podcast type game too. Number 19 was another game that I streamed, South of Midnight. This game was kind of slept on this year. I really, really enjoyed this game a lot. It reminds me of the 360, PlayStation 2, or not PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 era of kind of these like action adventure games, kind of like Alice Madness Returns. It reminds me of that a lot in like the combat and the gameplay and the platforming and all of that. You play as Hazel, and she's kind of able to kind of like weave between worlds or whatever. And it covers a lot of Southern folklore, which we have never seen before, and I really, really thought it was fascinating. The stories that were told, a lot of them, like the boss fights, and a lot of it was told through music. So I thought that was really, really cool. And I really had a good time with that game. And more people should play it and try it out. It's going to be coming to PlayStation 5 sometime this year, too. So look out for that. Number 20 was Rayman Legends. I also streamed this, and I'm not good at like 2D platformers really at all. But I got through it, and the rhythm games, like there were like these mini games in between that were rhythm based and had like actual like soundtracks and stuff. Well, licensed music in them, and I thought it was really, really cool. I really like this. This was the first game of this series that I had played through, so I definitely want to check out more of them now, for sure. Ubisoft used to have some really good games that were not like their main games. I think some of their smaller games used to be were better than like some of the big stuff, personally. But oh well. Number 21. This was another game I got for a review. This was another one that I requested personally. It was the Precinct. This was an isometric, kind of like an old school, I'm talking like Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 type of style of game, where you are playing as a police officer in this kind of like the sandbox game, and you're just a rookie, and you're going out and you're arresting people and giving them tickets. You can give people parking tickets and stuff like that. It had a lot of jank. I had a lot of glitches in this game, but I think overall it was a pretty fun game. It just needed some work. I don't know how it is now. I have not gone back to it since they've done a lot of updates and stuff, but I think a lot of people are enjoying it now. So check that out if that seems like your thing. Number 22, The Midnight Walk. This was another game that I streamed. I never did play their previous game. I can't think of what it is. Lost in Random, I think. But this is kind of like a clay animation style, kind of like a Tim Burton-esque like game where you're like in this like different kind of like a it's like a first person perspective, and you got this little pot boy guy that's guiding you through this world. Um, and there's like some puzzles, but it's mostly kind of like a walking sim, but with like some puzzles and stuff. And I thought it was really neat. It was pretty short too. I want to say it was like 6 hours long, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I liked the art style of it. I thought that was unique. I'm not really, it kind of had like a spooky atmosphere, and I'm not really into that with a lot of games. I'm trying to do better because I love horror in books and movies, but for some reason, video games, I get spooked a lot easier for whatever reason. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Number 23 was Dredge. I bought this when it first released back in 2023, and I played quite a little bit of it, but I never did finish it. And then it won for our game club for Game of the Month, and I played through it as well as a lot of people in the group, and everybody loved it. I really enjoyed it too. It's If you don't know what Dredge is, it's where you have this fishing boat, and you're going out and you're fishing and you're bringing fish back and selling them, and you're also like trying to do research on what's going on in this area, because there's like some spooky things at night, and there's a lot of mystery and stuff. It's got a lot of like HP Lovecraft type vibes to it. At night it is spooky. It is kind of like a little bit on the horror side, in a way, but I think the art style makes it to where it's not nearly as scary as some other games are. But yeah, I highly recommend Dredge. It's probably one of the best indies of this decade for sure. And yeah, definitely check that out if you have not. Number 24 was Spray Paint Simulator. This was another game I got for review, another one that I requested personally because I love PowerWash Simulator, and I played the demo for Spray Paint Simulator, and I was like, yeah, I'm all in. This one's a lot shorter. It's not nearly as long as PowerWash Simulator, but you're basically just doing, it's kind of like PowerWash Simulator in reverse. You are spray painting cars and machines and all sorts of different types of things, a bridge, which took a long time to do. Um, it's got, I think they've fixed a lot of things too, since like I get review codes and these are like pre release codes. So after reviews and stuff come out and there's like all the critiques and stuff, a lot of devs will go in and they will fix those problems. I've not gone back to it since. I know there have been a lot of updates, so it probably plays a lot better now than it did back then. I had some issues with it. There was a lot of jank. There was some things like climbing the ladders and stuff did not always work right. But I think it was enjoyable enough. I don't think it was like a bad game. I give it like a 3 out of 5. Number 25 was Despelote. This is a really, really cool, interesting narrative game that actually talks about the developer's personal life story, where back in the 90s when Ecuador qualified for the World Cup, and the vibes of that country and how kids especially like felt, and everything that was going on during that time. I think it's really, really interesting, and I love how it switches perspectives um, when you can like actually go into like uh, the main character Julian, he will sometimes like play soccer on his TV, like on like NES or whatever, or Super Nintendo, whatever it was. And you actually get to play on the system, and it's all kind of like, it's a really unique art style. It's all like kind of like almost like hand drawn. And then like the game's kind of like this like static top down perspective, and it's really interesting. I think it's really cool because you don't really get a lot of games that are based on like real events in history and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting, even as somebody who's not completely into sports. I like sports okay, but I'm not like somebody who actively watches sports. I think soccer is probably one of the more interesting sports, honestly. But I know that's not like a popular opinion in the US necessarily, but worldwide it is. It's the number one sport in the world. So, yeah, I highly recommend Despelote. It's also very short. It's like 3 hours long, but if you're interested in stuff like that, and also because I think I think it was easier for me too because I did live in Chile back in 2008 after high school. I hosted an exchange student at my house as senior year of high school for a year, and after she left, I decided that I was going to go visit her. So I went and I lived with her for 4 months. I know that doesn't sound like very long, but it was a completely different um, it's nothing I've ever done before. Like I I was only I think I want to say I was just 18 at the time, and I had never flown out of the country, done anything like that before. I'd never gone on my own like that. I flew down there. It was like over like 25 hours, and by myself. There were like 5 different layovers and stuff, and like being I had Spanish like throughout high school, but that's not necessarily enough to prepare you for being in another country by yourself. I think it was I knew enough like basic Spanish to get by, but immersing yourself in like that country and like another culture like that really like kind of I think that's the best way to learn a language. So I did have that background. I also had a lot of friends that were Spanish speaking, so we would, I'd hang out with them and talk to them and stuff like that. So I had kind of like that background of Spanish. I'm not as good as I used to be, and I still like am trying to keep up with it and whatever. But um, this game is in Spanish, and it does have subtitles in English, but like some of like the background, like some of the what was being said like in the background, I could understand. So it kind of like added to that, I think. But if you don't understand Spanish, because not everything is going to be written on the screen, especially like some of the conversations that the adults are having in the background. Um, yeah, so I think I I enjoy it and appreciate it a little bit more for that sense than like some people might if they don't know Spanish at all. Anyway, moving on to 26, Mafia II Definitive Edition. So back in 2024, I decided I was going to play Mafia for the first time. I played the Definitive Edition, and I loved it. It blew me away. I honestly did not know this game was going to be that good. And I was just like, I don't play games back to back in a series at all. But then I was like, you know what? I'm craving more Mafia. And the Lost Country, or not Lost Country, the Old Country comes out this year. So let me go through 2 and 3 this year. So I did get through 2, and I didn't like it nearly as much as the first game. I think I'm just not as big of a fan on oh, what's his name? The main character. I like Tommy in the first game, but I did not. His name starts with a V, and I am slipping on it, but I did not like him nearly as much as a character. So, but it's still a really, really good game. The atmosphere, the era, I love the music. Yeah, I really liked it. So, number 27, Mario Kart World. I got a Nintendo Switch at launch, and I was really excited to do this because I needed an upgrade. Honestly, I did not touch my Switch as much as I needed to, and with the Switch 2 upgrade, it was a lot better performance wise and visuals and stuff like that. So I just, I was excited to get an upgrade and thought it would be a good excuse to get through some of the games I never did play through. Mario Kart World was a game that came with the system, so I played through it. I do think it's a good game. I've never been as big of a Mario Kart fan as I am a Diddy Kong Racing fan, because I think Diddy Kong Racing is the best racing game There is, honestly, and I don't think Mario Kart stands a chance against it, even though Diddy Kong Racing only has one game and it doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, I liked this. I don't think I liked it as much as 8 or even Mario Kart Wii. I do think that this version of Rainbow Road was the best version that there's been. The music and everything, I thought it was a really, really, really good course, and I would have preferred to have more of that. But I'm not sure. I don't know what it was that I just, didn't. It didn't blow me away as much. I don't know if it's just I didn't really like the wall running and all that stuff. I didn't, it was kind of a lot, but it's still a good game. I don't think it's bad at all. Number 28 was another code I got for review. This one was actually on my own. I did not request it through Minimap. I requested it on through an outsource, through Pirate PR. This was the first game I got from them. And I really, really, really liked this game. It actually ended up on my top 10 as well. I'm a huge, huge Banjo Kazooie fan, and this takes a lot of inspiration from that. You play as Ruffy, and it's kind of like a hand drawn, like 2D style, almost like on a paper um, type of characters and animation. And it's really, really neat the way that it's animated for sure. And you can swap different objects and stuff to get through the puzzles and get through the world. And I thought it was really cool. The swap mechanic was really interesting and different from anything else I had played before. So, yeah, I really liked Ruffy. Number 29, Game of the Year. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. There is not another game that has made me feel as close to Final Fantasy X like this ever. Like Final Fantasy X is still like my favorite game of all time, but this had a lot of things that reminded me so much of that game. Just character dynamics, just everything going on in the world, and it just I really, really thought that the combat was great. I love turn based. I don't care. Some people hate it, but I think that the added mechanics to their turn-based system was really, really smart, because a lot of people that don't like turn-based and don't even like RPGs liked Clair Obscur a lot, because the combat was a little bit different. It added a little bit of extra things to make it a little more active, a lot more active actually. But yeah, I just the soundtrack, as soon as you turn the game on, and just the title screen just really gets you in. Oh man, the music's so beautiful, and everything about this game is beautiful. I know that like some of the pacing was a little bit off, like in Act 2 to 3, but people complain about there not being a map, but I honestly I get lost really, really easily in games, but I didn't have the problems that a lot of people seem to have with getting around in Expedition 33, because there were a lot of things in the environment that I think kind of like showed you the way. But I don't know. Anyway, I love the characters, and it's rare that a game will make you feel so much for characters within 30 minutes. And I I, I don't think a video game has really done that to me in a long time, to where I actually just felt a deep connection to everybody and the world and everything going on, and I just wanted to see what was going on. And this game deserves all the praise that it got. Everything. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Number 30, Little Nightmares 2. I love Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares 2 is also great. If you love puzzle platformers, love Inside and stuff like that, even though this is horror and it is a little scary, this was my second time trying to attempt to play through it, because uh the second game has this like crazy teacher with a long neck, and she can like come and eat you, but she just moves her neck around and it like goes like, yeah. I don't know. It's really creepy, and it was really hard for me to get through. And it also has like mannequins, kind of like Doctor Who type of like weeping angel type of style thing going on in some parts too. So yeah, I did make it through it on Twitch, so maybe that's the way to go. But number 31, and Roger. This was another game I got for review. Um, People say it's like Florence. I've never played Florence, so I can't really say. It's just kind of, I think it's just under 2 hours. It's this point and click type game where you've got these puzzles and you're this young girl who's disoriented, and she finds her father, or who appears to be her father, laying on the couch, and then she realizes it's not her dad, and she doesn't know who this man is, and it's all sorts of kind of like creepy vibes, and it turns into something completely different from what you expect. I don't think I was as strong on this as a lot of people were. It does talk about themes that are pretty sensitive to a lot of people. I can understand. I have a friend who's going through these problems, and I'm not going to get into spoilers because this game is heavy spoiler. You can't really talk about this game much without ruining the surprise for everybody. But it's not what you expect going into it. I will say that. And a lot of people really, really love this. A lot of people say that this is one of their favorite games of 2025. It didn't make it there for me. I thought it was good, but I wasn't amazed by it. Number 32, Mafia 3. This game got hated on a lot, and I really actually enjoyed it. It didn't really have the same vibes of Mafia 1 and 2. It was open world. There was a lot of things to do. It did get repetitive quite a bit, but I liked the world. I liked going through it. I liked Lincoln as a character. I thought he was more interesting than guy I can't remember still. I have a hard time with names sometimes, but yeah, I just even though he appeared in like two of the games. But yeah, I really liked Mafia 3. And I don't this might be my second favorite just because Mafia 2 I did not like the character nearly as much, but I don't know, it's pretty neck and neck for different reasons. I think Mafia 2 is probably a better game, but Mafia 3 I had more fun with in ways. So yeah, I recommend it, even though there's a lot of opinions on this game being awful. However, the old country, we'll get to that later. Number 33, Herdling. This is one of those like atmospheric type games, kind of like Journey, but you're herding this group of creatures called calicorns. They're kind of like these yak-like creatures. You stumble across them, and they're usually like in some kind of predicament, like they're stuck, they've got their horns stuck on something, or they're injured or something, and um, you rescue them, and then you welcome them to your herd, and then you've got to guide them along. You're guiding them towards this safe place, and I think this game is beautiful, and I actually liked it more than Sword of the Sea. For whatever reason, I just, I don't think it's as advanced and like mechanics and gameplay as Sword of the Sea necessarily, but I just really enjoyed this game. It was only 4 hours long, and um, your Calicorn can die too. You can turn that off in the settings. So, but I think it's beautiful. The music's also really good too, and I just highly recommend it. Check it out if you're into those types of games. Number 34, Is This Seat Taken? Also, Herdling was another game I got for review. But number 34, Is This Seat Taken? This is a really cute logic puzzle game where you are rearranging all these little characters in different seating arrangements. So you'll have like a bus, you'll have a movie theater, you'll have these characters that are, in the movie theater, don't want to sit in a dirty seat. There are some that don't want to sit next to smelly people. There are some that want to steal popcorn, so you'll sit them next to somebody who has a popcorn bucket. Some don't want to sit next to kids, and you've got to rearrange all of them to fit to where they're all satisfied and happy. And it's really interesting. I don't think I've played another game that was kind of like that, and I think we should get more games like this. But yeah, definitely check it out if you have not. Number 35, Sword of the Sea. I know that I said that I didn't like Sword of the Sea as much as Herdling, but that does not mean that Sword of the Sea was a bad game, because it's not. I love what Giant Squid has done in the past. I love Abzu. Abzu is one of my favorite games, and I think it's a little bit underrated as far as what games people suggest from Giant Squid, because Abzu had like the underwater exploration with marine life and like saving and cleansing the sea and stuff like that. And as somebody who used to want to be a marine biologist, I think that's probably why that resonated with me the most. But Journey was their first game before they became Giant Squid. And I really like that game as well. It's probably one of the first games that kind of really pushed the indie video game scene forward, I think, in a lot of ways. But Sword of the Sea is kind of like Journey, but you are on kind of like this. I don't know if you would say like a snowboard. It wouldn't. It's not really a skateboard. It doesn't have wheels, but you're like there's sand dunes and stuff, and you're just kind of you're gliding through this world, and it's beautiful. The visuals are stunning. The music is really really good. I don't know. There is something that I didn't enjoy it as much as I expected to for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. But it is a really good game. I definitely recommend it. Some people think that this is like the best Giant Squid game. So not everybody's going to agree with me on that. So I do recommend it. It's just, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I thought, but I still enjoyed it. Number 36. This was another game I got for review, one that I requested through Minimap, and that is Tiny Bookshop. I really enjoyed this for the most part. It does have a lot of books that exist in the real world, and as somebody who likes books, I like reading a lot. That's one of my other hobbies that I really enjoy. Um, it's like this little cozy simulator where you've got this little like bookmobile, which who doesn't remember bookmobiles? Back in the 90s, we used to go on those. I remember always like looking for new Goosebumps books that I have not seen before. So that was something that I really enjoyed. Tiny Bookshop, you just have this bookshop on wheels, and you're going around this town, and people will come in and they'll, you know, want you to suggest a book to them, and they'll give you like these different things, like like I want something that's like science fiction, kind of like The Martian, and then you'll go and you'll choose like Project Hail Mary or something, or like I want a book that's over 1,000 pages long. They'll have all these requests and stuff, and then you'll have to like look for a book for them, and then you can like upgrade your bookshop, and then um, you have like all these like side quests and stuff that some of the characters will come across you with. Like they'll want you to sell so many fantasy books in a day and stuff like that. So you've got a whole bunch of different achievements and things to do. I think it got really repetitive, and it didn't really. Um, I don't know. It started off really strong. Like the first 8 hours that I played of it, I was like I couldn't get enough of it, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit for me. But I do recommend it, and a lot of people really love it. So if you're into like cozy sims and you like books, I definitely recommend Tiny Bookshop. Number 37 was another game I got for review. This was outside of Minimap. I got this one through somebody else. I don't remember who it was. But Henry Halfhead. Henry Halfhead, you play as Henry, who is just like half a head, and it's kind of like this sandbox, not necessarily like an open world, but it's like a puzzle game where you can warp into different objects to kind of like finish puzzles and stuff like that. So you say you wanted to make a sandwich, you can jump into the knife and use the knife to cut the bread, and it's all sorts of different. It's an interesting mechanic because you can warp into basically any object in the room at all. I thought it was cute. I And the narration was good too, but it just didn't really do all that much for me, really. In the end, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like in love with it. Number 38, Miscellaneous: A Tiny Tale. I don't know if it's Misc or Miscellaneous. I say Miscellaneous: A Tiny Tale. This is kind of takes a lot of inspiration from Chibi Robo. I go in to look for it. I start to type it, and then I'm like, Chibi Robo. Anyway, yeah, this is a lot like Chibi Robo in ways. I've not played Chibi Robo, but I know it was inspired by it. I also like Pikmin a lot, so it kind of reminds me of that, like in like that oversized world type of format. You're playing as this kind of like little, I think you're a nail, or something, and you're walking around and you're cleaning up trash and you're trying to save the world. And it's really, really cute. It's very simple, but it's really cute, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Number 39, Arctic Awakening. This is kind of like Firewatch in a way, like a walking sim, but it's kind of like in the Arctic, and kind of like it's got some survival elements to it too, which makes it really interesting. I thought it was pretty good, actually. I got this as a review from somebody outside of Minimap, and even though it falls off a little bit in, I think, like the final chapter, and the story is kind of, whatever, but I thought it was a really interesting game. And the atmosphere was pretty cool. So definitely check that out if you're into games like Firewatch. Number 40, Sackboy: A Big Adventure. This was another game I played on Twitch, and I had never actually, I have not even played Little Big Planet, like just a tiny bit of one of them, and I don't remember which one it was, but I know that this one's quite a bit different because it's a 3D platformer. I really enjoyed it. I I was stronger on it when I first started than I was at the end, but it did have like a lot of kind of, it seemed like it had inspiration from Rayman Legends, actually, because it had a lot of like rhythm based licensed music levels as well, which I did not expect. But it's a pretty solid 3D platformer overall, so definitely check that out if you have not. Number 41, Mosaic of the Pharaohs, another another Mosaic game. This one is like the mural, or the pictures that show up are all like Egyptian based. So it was pretty cool. Number 42, Dreams of Another. This was another game I got for review. I was interested in it because I played the demo and I thought it was unique and interesting, but it fell kind of short for me. It had a lot of pacing issues. You're basically like in this dream world, and you have a gun, and the gun materializes everything, instead of destroying everything. So, kind of like PowerWash Simulator in a way. Like you shoot your gun, and everything's just kind of like bubbly images, and then it like smooths everything out as you're shooting, and forms objects and stuff. Um, but I thought the story was kind of interesting, but it's so slowly paced. Like the music, the narration, even just, I don't know, it just very slow. Almost like, I think it's supposed to be like, it's like, okay, you're in a dream and everything's moving slowly, but it just does not work very well as a game, in my opinion. So I was not too hot on it at the end. Number 43, Undusted: Letters from the Past. This is a like a kind of like a visual novel in a way, but also like cleaning aspects where you are cleaning these objects you're finding in your house. You're cleaning up your mother's house, and you did not have a great relationship with your mother, but as you clean objects, you're reminded of things in your past, and then you kind of like, I don't know, kind of end up like forgiving your mom. And I thought it was really interesting, and I really liked the game quite a bit. It was very short as well, but I definitely recommend this game. I think it's well paced. The story is really good. Actually made me cry. Um, and if you like cleaning in games like I do, then yeah, you might want to check this one out. Number 44, Mega Mosaic. I think this was the first Mosaic game that they made. And this one was quite a bit different because it didn't have like those sectioned off areas like the other games did later on. I did like it quite a bit, but not nearly as much as the others. But it's still same sort of thing as the other games are. Number 45, Borderlands. I have tried to play through Borderlands probably like 3 or 4 times, and I just, for whatever reason, just kept stopping and just never kept going. And there's a little book, I say a little book. There's a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl. I started reading this book, and then I was like, I'm craving a game with some good loot. If you've read Dungeon Crawler Carl, which you should if you're into video games and you like books, you definitely should read Dungeon Crawler Carl. Even if you aren't, you probably will like it. I have a friend who doesn't play video games, and she loved the book. So it's awesome. But anyway, it led me to starting up Borderlands again, and I actually made it all the way through. Thanks to Dungeon Crawler Carl for giving me the inspiration and push I needed to get through this game finally for the first time. I actually liked it quite a bit. I just think that some of the environments and are kind of dull. I know that it's supposed to improve in 2 and 3, and I think I'm going to play through 2 this year at least. I don't know, we'll see. But I did like it like towards the end, like the last third of the game, or maybe like the last fourth of the game, I think was really different in the environment and stuff, and the enemies were different, and I think that was what like really like ended up, I really like this game now. But like up until that point, all the enemies were pretty samey, you know. Claptrap doesn't really play a role that I thought he would. Like I was like, he's just kind of like off on the side there. He doesn't really have anything going on. Like the story wasn't really anything interesting really, but I had a good time playing it. I like the gameplay of the game. And like other stuff too. It took me some time to get through it, but I did push through it and I finished it, and I do plan on playing the other games now. So, yeah. Thank you, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Number 46. This is another game I streamed, Keeper. This is the first, no, it's not the first. This is the third Double Fine game that I've played through. The first two being Costume Quest 1 and 2. Yeah, I've not played through Psychonauts. I've not played through Brutal Legend or Broken Age or any of those games. I've played little bits and pieces of some of them, and I never kept going. But Keeper ended up being in my top, I want to say, if it wasn't top 5, it was top 10. I don't remember, but it's a really good game. You play as this lighthouse, and it's kind of like I don't know if you would say like a walking simulator. It's kind of more like a puzzle adventure game. And you're walking through as a lighthouse, and you've got this kind of like this dodo bird like creature that's helping you around. And there's all these different environmental puzzles. And as the different chapters come around, the lighthouse evolves or dissolves I don't know, into like other objects and stuff, and like the gameplay changes. And towards the end, I was like, this game is awesome. It's like one of the last chapters of that game I just thought was amazing, and I just had a lot of fun with that game, and it really like put it up towards the top for me. The visual style, it's kind of like a Salvador Dali type of style, and I really, really, really liked the art in this game. And honestly, like, it kind of surprised me that this game didn't get nominated for art design or anything like that, because it's really, really good. Probably one of the best looking games that I played this year, for sure. Number 47, Hoomanz. This was a game I got for review through Keymailer, which that was the first game that I got through Keymailer, which was pretty cool. It's kind of like this like little puzzle game where you're sneaking around. You're kind of like this squirrel-like creature. You're sneaking around and you're trying to scare the humans off because they've invaded your forest and you're tired of them. And the way you spook them is sneaking on them in the dark, and you can throw objects to kind of like make them stressed. And then once you stress them, then you can scare them off. And then you get through each chapter, like you try to complete, and scare off every human in the area and then move on to the next area. So it's pretty fun to go through, I think. I don't think it pushes anything forward. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything like crazy, but it's a fun time, and I enjoyed my time with it. Number 48, Mafia: The Old Country. Sad to say that this game did not do it for me. I loved Mafia 1 through 3 a lot, and I had pretty high expectations going into Mafia: The Old Country just because it's rare that I play games that close back to back, and I don't know, like they tried to make it open world but linear. It's also like in early 1900s, late 1800s Sicily, and I thought the environments were beautiful. I loved the landscape, but there was no real like traversal in this game. Like it was just you didn't really go out in the world at all, hardly. It was all so guided. Everything was so guided, like too guided in this game. And even Mafia, the first game, was not that guided, and it was a very linear game, but it was, you could go out and do stuff. Um, and it wasn't like hand holding the entire time. Like most of this was knife fights and just not a lot of gunplay necessarily, and I just didn't think it was that interesting at all. Like the story was pretty decent, and then towards the end, it just pissed me off. So, I mean, the Mafia games, they never really end with a good ending necessarily, so that was no surprise. But it entirely just pissed me off, and I don't know. I did not think Mafia: The Old Country was a very good game, and I actually sold it after I beat it instead of keeping it in the collection because that's how much I did not like it. So, yeah, I would not suggest it, but there's some people that really liked it. So if you did not play 1 through 3 and you just want to play the Old Country, then I guess maybe you'll like it. Number 49, Dispatch. I love Telltale. I miss Telltale, and I was so glad to see like old Telltale devs who worked on The Wolf Among Us, especially because that's my favorite Telltale game, come together and create their own studio and do their own thing, but also still like a Telltale game. Dispatch is a game where you're a superhero that has lost all of his kind of like superhero abilities. And so instead, he is working at this dispatch office where you send out superheroes to go fight crimes and stuff. But all the superheroes that get sent out at this office are all kind of a bunch of misfits, kind of like Suicide Squad or like Guardians of the Galaxy type of humor, and kind of, crazy superheroes that just don't have much motivation and stuff. So you're trying to be the person that, guides them in the correct way, but The story is so good. The animations are phenomenal. Telltale game has never looked like this. Like it just looks so good. It looks kind of like, I guess, um Invincible. Like it kind of seems like it's like a mixture of Invincible meets The Office, I guess, in a way. There's also some mini games, so it's not just choice based decisions that you're doing throughout the game. There are some quick time events, but you can turn that off in the settings if you don't like that. But there's also a mini game where you are dispatching, and I actually really liked that. I thought that was cool. I did not like the hacking mini game at all, but I did like dispatching. So you can send the superheroes out and you decide who's going to go and who's going to go with who, with like the different um, abilities that they have strengths in and stuff like that to, uh, go through these certain situations. So I really highly recommend Dispatch. It came out in 2 episodes a week over the course of 4 weeks, which I think was a really good pace for that game. Um, Before, like Telltale would do like one every month, and that just took forever. Like, so I really think that the way that they did this worked, and it ended up being in my top 10 of 2025 as well. So definitely check that out if you haven't. Number 50, PowerWash Simulator 2. I love PowerWash Simulator, so of course I was going to play through this one. This one added some new things like soapy suds that did not disappear until you washed them off, so it made it easier to see like what spots you had missed and stuff like that. And it also made it to where you really didn't have to do much else, because in PowerWash Simulator, the first game, when you use the soapy suds, it would just be attached to like your nozzle, and so it would help clean areas a little bit better. But in this one, when you use the soapy suds, it's going to clean it 100%, that little area there. So made it a little bit easier to clean. um you can pet the cat, and which is nice, but I don't know, for whatever reason I just did not like this one nearly as much as the first game, and I don't know what it is that set me off, because there's not anything wrong with it. It's better paced and stuff like that, but and the visuals are better, but I think there's something about the first one that I enjoyed more, and I don't know what it is. So anyway, Egging On is number 51, and this game is awesome. It really inspired me to like push through and play harder games and challenge myself more. I really really enjoyed this. I got it for review outside of Minimap, and um the pressure was on because I was like, "Oh shoot, I got this for review. I have to finish this game." And this game is hard. This is like inspired by games like Only Up and Getting Over It, and games that people are like, it's impossible to get through. I think like when I finished this game, it was like maybe 7% or less of people had actually seen credits on this, and I got it after the game came out. I got it for review from the dev team. But I just man, oh, it was challenging, but there's some extra things that you can unlock to make the game easier, and it's still hard, but it helped a lot. Like there's checkpoints that you can unlock and stuff like that, and the checkpoints help a lot because you don't have to worry about like once you fall all the way back down, you don't have to worry about starting from the bottom, because there's 5 different sections, and these sections are really long. You're playing as an egg, you're rolling through, you have the ability to jump and you can roll. When you jump off of the very tip of your egg, you jump higher, but you're an egg, so you're gonna crack if you fall. You're gonna like if you can fully crack and break, and then you become a yolk, and the yolk can fit through small little crevices like in the floorboards and stuff like that, little cracks in the floorboards, which will take you all the way back down. So you got to be real careful. And you're trying to get through the hen house. You get through the hen house, and then you move on from the hen house to the the farm and the factory and all these other sections, and it just goes up higher and higher and higher into the sky. And it's so cool. I love the arrangement of these levels and the design. The level design is really cool. The narrator is really like kind of like pushes you forward, and he's like, it's okay that you fell, just keep going. And like it just kind of, this game I feel like is slept on because it is a hard game. But if you unlock those things that will help you get through it, I think you can get through it. There's special eggs that you can unlock that have certain abilities that make it easier to get through. It's still hard. These obstacles, like there's going to be things like fans blowing. There's going to be very small crevices and like walls that are turning as you're coming across, and you got to jump at the right time to get through. There's real narrow platforms that you'll have to roll across, but if you're rolling like on the side of the egg, you kind of are more wobbly and less um, you have less stability than you do as rolling forward. So I think Egging On is a fantastic game. It made it to my top 5 games of the year, and I made it through. I got to the end of this game. So yeah, definitely check out Egging On. It's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, I highly recommend it. Number 52 is Winter Burrow. This is a cute little survival game where you play as a mouse and you are trying to keep warm and trying to find your aunt and figure out what all happened. After your parents passed away, you go back to your old home. And so you gather resources to kind of create like better sweaters and stuff because it's really cold outside. You can die, you can freeze to death, you can starve, you can there's enemies out there like insects and stuff that you'll have to either run away from or you can face head on. And yeah, so you have to manage your time well. um I will say that they did not have a map when I played this game because I played it at launch, and they have updated it so it has a map now. So it's probably a lot easier to get through because I was getting lost a lot. But it's a very cute game. It reminds me a lot of Redwall in a way, the book series. I used to read that as a kid, and I just yeah, I would highly recommend this if you're into like cozy type games. Do realize that it does like have some a little bit, I wouldn't say it's like super intense, but there's time management and stuff that you have to consider, and the survival elements and stuff, which some people who are only into cozy games will probably not like. But um it's not a hard game per se at all. But it just it's not entirely cozy, but it does definitely has the cozy vibes in a way too. So number 53, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. I grew up with 64, and I did not really play a lot of Genesis games or Super Nintendo games or NES games except for when I went over to friends' houses, because I started a little bit late with gaming because I had to kind of convince my parents that I wanted a gaming console, and so I didn't get one until later, and it was a 64, so I didn't really do a lot of 2D platformers and stuff like that. That's why I'm not very good at them. We played this for Game Club, and without Game Club, I would not have played this game probably at all. I started it and I got through like the 3rd chapter, got to the end boss of the 3rd chapter, and I was just like, I cannot, or stage. I was like, I'm gonna drop this game. I'm not gonna do this because it's too hard. And for whatever reason, I turned my Switch on the next day, and I was like, I was going to play Pokemon Scarlet, and I was like, I went over to Nintendo Switch Online, and I went back into Shinobi 3, and I beat the boss, and I kept going, and I beat the game. I did use save states, but I don't care. I did not use the rewind feature, but I did use save states. But I think that's totally fair. I just, these games are incredibly hard. Even with save states, they are hard. But I made it through, and this game is really good. Actually, like it still holds up today really well, and kind of makes me want to play Shinobi Art of Vengeance now. Like I want to try that. Um, yeah, I highly recommend this game for anybody who has Nintendo Switch Online, or if you have a Sega Genesis. It's the first Genesis game that I've beaten, so pretty cool. And then also like I'm like egging on has inspired me to do these hard games, and I'm just and now Shinobi. So I'm gonna work on some harder games this year. I'm gonna work on some older games, some classics and stuff, and see how far I get. Um, yeah, definitely recommend. Number 54, Ball Pit. I love Devolver. I really just love Devolver. Can we just talk about them? Like, probably my favorite publisher now is like indie and AAA, whatever. I just love the games that they put out. They choose some of the best, and it's just thanks to Game Club for like getting me into Devolver in the first place. But um, this game is really fun. Roguelite, you've got a narrow hallway, and you've got these different characters and stuff, and all these balls that are going off. And like the bounce off the walls and stuff. There's different objects and stuff, and upgrades that you can get. When you finish a run, you end up or even when you don't finish, when you fail, you end up at your town base, and there's like a whole bunch of town building, which is very unique. And what you build in the town gives you resources and upgrades and abilities and extra things that will help you on your runs. And I thought that was a really cool mechanic. Even though, like, my town was a mess, it looked like an absolute mess. But I got through it. Ball Pit is the only game that I have 100% this year. I just, I finished it on stream, and then I went back, got all the characters. I ran every single character through every single level. Did the harder difficulties. I unlocked all the balls, all the combos, did all the extra things, got 100% on this, and I would do it again. And they've got DLC coming out this year. I think they said 3 of them, and they're all going to be free upgrades, I want to say. They're just, well done. I really love Ball Pit. Try it out. All the characters are different. They have unique abilities and stuff. Some of them kind of surprised me with what they did. I was like, oh, this is weird. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Such an addictive game. Number 55, Halo Reach. I finally played through Halo Reach. I played through 1 through 3, and I've played a little bit of Infinite, but I've not played Reach for ODST or Halo 5. Up until now, I finally played through Halo Reach. This is kind of like the Rogue One of Halo, and I played it all on stream. I did not put it up on YouTube just because there were a lot of audio issues. I don't know what it was with Halo, because Xbox, the other games that I streamed, did just fine, but for whatever reason, Halo just was very static and had a lot of issues on my stream, so I did not upload those. I had a good time with this game. It was really good. I think it may be tied for Halo 3 for my favorite. My favorite's Combat Evolved, which I played because of Game Club, also like years ago. But I just, yeah, this is really good game. I highly recommend it. Number 56 is not so good of a game. It's The Grinch Christmas Adventures. I mean, what was I expecting of this? But I love The Grinch, and I just, I figured, I was like, I'll try this little platformer. Let's try it out. And it's not bad necessarily. The narration is really bad. The writing is really bad. Which, I mean, what would you expect? But I mean, I don't know. It's just an okay game. It's an okay. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it's short. It's under 3 hours long, so you know what? If you want a quick game, go ahead and play it. I don't think you'll fully regret it. necessarily. It just, not the best thing in the world. And looking at it, it has a 55 rating on Steam from where I'm like looking at these things. Yeah. Uh, so that's it. That's what I played through for 2025, and I don't know if I'll hit that this year. I'm trying to focus more on books this year. But maybe an equal balance, but I've got a lot of games I've requested for review. I've not been requesting through Minimap. I've been requesting outside of Minimap, and I'm kind of trying to limit myself to the games that I really truly want to play for review, because I don't want to like push myself to play games that I'm not going to like, So I'm kind of trying to do better, but I also just want to focus on backlog, whether that be like older, games that are like longer games or whatever. So I'm going to take my time this year and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks for standing by for this entire time. I don't know how long it's been, but I'll see you guys next time.